Now to meteorologist Laura Velasquez, who's lying along the Grand River with a look at what we can expect as far as flooding. Laura?
Yeah, Emily, I'm here at Riverside Park in what should be the boat launch parking lot. Where I'm standing is still pavement, but you can see just how high that water level is. We're talking 2.5, getting close to 3 feet, all the way up to waist deep. Here I could go a little bit further, but notice how fast that water is moving downstream. In fact, in some cases, as much as 4 times normal river flow coming down the Grand River in locations right here just north of Grand Rapids. Now, here are some of the highlights. You just heard Matt talking about the rain that we're expecting as he tracked it into West Michigan. Here are some of the things to think about. 2 to as much as localized 4-inch amounts of rainfall from today through Friday. Water levels are again going to rise, and in this case, you'll likely notice them rising faster than they did when the water levels were coming up last week, and that's because we already have swollen rivers. You're also going to notice the water spreading out a little bit more because this is a floodplain. And also something else to keep a very close eye on is some possible road washouts. We're very, very wet here. Adding more rain onto that is not a good thing. Keep in mind, if you see water over a roadway, the slogan is turn around, don't drown. You may not know how deep that water is. We want to make sure that that road is actually there. So best case scenario, turn around, find a different direction. Here's where the Grand River sits right now at Comstock Park, which is just about a mile or 2 upstream from where I am right now. Currently in a moderate flood. You can see very similar to where it was on Monday, and we are expecting a potential rise to near 16 feet, assuming we get that 2 to say 2.25 inches of rain by Tuesday. And what that means for some of those folks that live along Willow Drive, a Brigador Trail, the places that normally flood. Now we're not talking about water in their backyards and their crawl spaces. At 16 feet, we could be talking about water into the first floor of their homes as well. So certainly a serious situation developing here along the banks of the Grand River. We'll be keeping an eye on it for you throughout the duration. And of course, coming up later on tonight at 5 o'clock, we'll have Bill and Kylan. For now, in the Grand River at Riverside Park, I'm meteorologist Laura Velasquez. Terry, this is very wet, heavy snow, which also equates to good packing snow, good snowballs, and therefore good snowmen. So we may have perhaps a little bit of a challenge coming up for you. But let's get to those snow totals first. Take a look at some of these numbers that came into us overnight. Ensley Township in Kent County, about 4.5 inches. Same thing for the Granville area. 4 in Hudsonville, same thing for Jenison. We're at about 3.7 for East Grand Rapids. You can see Comstock Park over to St. John's coming in at just a little over 3 inches of snow. And hey guys, it doesn't take very much of this snow to roll out a quick snowman. My photographer Tracy and myself just built this guy in about the last 8 minutes. We're going to call him the Daybreak Snowman. We're going to get him a face, a Bill Steffen mustache, and some arms here over the course of the next half hour. But my challenge to all those kids out there who are home from school today because of a snow day, build a snowman, send it in to report it at woodtv.com. We'll try to get some of those out to show everybody. You can also send them to us on Facebook and on Twitter. And Terry, the kids are going to have some time to work with the snowman snow in the course of the next couple days.
I want to get over now live to meteorologist Laura Velasquez, watching conditions along the Grand River in Comstock Park.
Yeah, I'm here on the banks of the Grand River in Comstock Park, a Brigador Trail right here, Willow Drive, just to the east side of the river there. This is a pretty typical location that tends to flood when we see heavier rainfall. We're right along the river here. River levels a little bit earlier this morning was a bit over 8 feet. They've come up since then. In fact, where I'm standing right now, you will not be able to stand in just a matter of hours as the water continues to come up. A flood warning here has been issued for the Grand River at Comstock Park, only expecting some minor flooding, but what that means is that some of these backyards could be underwater by the time we get into this weekend. Perhaps some basements, some of the lower portions of this house, or where the decks are, we could see that water continue to creep up because the water is expected to come up to around, if not just a little bit more than 13 feet. And to give you a good visual on this, I'm about 5'8". The water was a little bit over 8 feet this morning. It continues to rise, so think about just a little bit shorter than me is where that water is going to be by the time it crests that weekend. And of course, we've got more rain on the way for the next 24 hours. You just heard Bill and Kyle talking about it, and we are going to continue to see that rainfall and the moisture add up to this as well. So we'll keep a close eye on those river levels, not just here in Comstock Park, but rivers, creeks, streams, low-lying areas across much of West Michigan have seen those water levels come up. Flooding is a cumulative effect, so it takes time for it to react. So we'll see those crests likely coming into the weekend, perhaps even early next week. Storm Team 8 will keep you fully informed as the situation develops. It is a longer duration event, so stay tuned on air and online. For now, reporting from the banks of the Grand River in Comstock Park, I'm meteorologist Laura Velasquez.